Welcome to the Inspire Fitness family. Before beginning with the assembly of the SF3 or with any exercise activity, be sure to consult your physician. If your SF3 arrives in damaged packaging, please be sure to note this with the delivery company at the time of delivery. Inspire Fitness is not responsible for damages caused by the shipping and delivery company. Take a moment to read through your user manual. Pay particular attention to the important safety notices. Check your part list and be sure that everything is accounted for. If anything is missing, or if you have any questions, please contact our service team. We recommend 2 people for this installation, which may take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, depending on your experience with product assemblies. This assembly will require a level surface and a clear or usable space of approximately 89 inches in width and 52 inches in depth. You'll also need a ceiling taller than 96 inches for workable space, but the assembled unit stands at 84 inches tall once complete. Be sure that the final location of the SF3 can withstand the product's assembled weight of 613 pounds, as well as the user's weight. Your SF3 includes all the tools that you need for assembly. However, we recommend a 16mm combination wrench, 17mm socket wrench, and 19mm wrench for a better assembly experience. We also include a bolt measuring ruler. You can use this at each step to double check that you're using the correct bolt length. To measure the appropriate length, lay the bolt on the ruler and measure from the bottom of the bolt head to the end of the bolt. Unpack all the frame pieces and lay them nearby so they're easy to identify and access. For step 1, you'll need the following frame and hardware parts. Throughout the assembly, we'll be referencing the left and right sides of the machine. This is defined as the user's left and user's right when they are standing in the machine, facing outward. Let's get started. Start by placing the right main frame in the vertical position. While one person holds the frame upright, the other will align the lower crossbar with the frame. Be sure the feet are facing downward. Now, insert 2 M10 by 75mm bolts with flat washers into the back of the frame, connecting the crossbar with the frame. On the front of the frame, secure the bolt with a second washer and lock nut. You will follow this convention for all through bolt connections throughout the entire assembly. It is very important that you only hand tighten the bolts at this step. We will tighten all bolts later in step 3. Next, insert 2 M10 by 90mm bolts into the side of the frame from the outside, securing the frame to the crossbar. Place the left main frame in the vertical position and repeat these steps on the left side of the frame. Now, position the upper crossbar between the 2 frames. The upper crossbar has holes for the bench and accessory storage, which we will assemble later on. The 2 holes are for the accessory rack. The single hole is for the bench mount. The upper crossbar can be attached in either direction. Next, repeat the bolt configuration on both sides, just as you did with the lower crossbar. As a reminder, do not tighten any bolt connections just yet. For step 2, you'll need the following frame and hardware parts. You may need a step stool to complete this step. Place the pull-up crossbar between the 2 main frames and insert 4 M10 by 75mm bolts through the outer side of the frame and into the top frame support. Do not tighten the hardware at this time. Repeat this step on the other side of the frame. There are 4 adjustment screws on each side of the top frame support. Do Do not touch these screws. For step 3, you'll need the following frame and hardware parts. Before we begin, move both sliding carriages to the lowest position. Position the red Smith bar between the two carriages. Note the R and L stickers on both the bar and the Smith bar sliders. The R on the bar should be matched with the R on the slider. The same is true for the left side with the L. Insert the Smith bar pins through both the right and left Smith bar sliders, then into the ends of the Smith bar. Now, insert and tighten the 4 M6 Allen head screws on both sides to secure the Smith bar pins to the Smith bar sliders. Place the Smith bar end caps over the pins and secure with one M5 by 14 mm Phillips head screw. Now, you may tighten all hardware from steps 1 through 3. Adjust the leveling feet on the bottom crossbar until they touch the ground. Check that the machine feels level and sturdy. Adjust the feet if needed. For step 4, you'll need the following frame and hardware parts. Now, thread the weight stack pulleys into the top of the top plate assembly on both sides. It is critical that you leave about 1/4 inch of thread between the bottom of that pulley and the top of the top plate. There are 2 of these, one for each weight stack. Set these to the side for now. Grab your 2 weight stack guide rods. Find the end of the guide rods with holes, then insert that end into the holes in the frame. Make sure to align the holes in the guide rods with the holes in the bottom tube of the main frame. Then, slide 1 rubber bumper onto each of the guide rods. Complete this step on both sides and then let the weight stack guide rods rest at an angle away from the frame. Using the provided lubricant, spread the liquid up and down the guide rods at this time. Before moving forward, be sure that your SF3 is in the final, desired location. Once the weight plates are installed, it will be very difficult to move. Now it's time to install your weight plates. It is critical that you install your weight plates in the correct orientation. So let's identify the top, bottom, front, and back of your weight plates. The bottom of each plate will have 3 foot pads, so these should always be facing down. The front of the weight plate has a cutout for the weight plate sticker. This will face inward, towards the inside of the machine. When stacked properly, they will look like this. Slide 15 weight plates onto each side of the machine. When installed correctly, the left and right weight stacks will look like this. And the foot pads should be facing down on every plate. Now for the top plate assembly. Slide the top plate assembly onto the guide rods. The top plate assembly should be positioned with the bolt head facing inward. Do this on both sides. It's not quite time to put the stickers on the weight plates. We'll do that later. Now, let's connect the guide rods to the top of the frame. The guide rod bushings come pre-assembled. Slide them towards each other to remove them from the frame. Then slide the guide rod bushings onto each rod. The tapered end of the bushing points should face downward. Do this on both sides of the frame. With the cable positioned between the 2 guide rods, carefully pull the guide rods toward each other. Then slide the guide rod bushings up into the larger hole of the frame until the slot of the bushing is resting in the frame. Next, pull the bushings along with the rods away from each other so that the bushings slide into the smaller holes of the frame, thus locking them into place. Repeat this on both sides. Now, Slide the guide rods up and rotate as needed to align the holes in the bottom of the rods with the holes in the base of the frame. Insert two M10 by 15 mm hex bolts from the inside of the frame through the guide rods and secure the bolts. Now for step 5. Now, we need to route the cable into the weight stack pulley. Remove the pulley from the top plate assembly, then route the cable under the pulley and reattach. Do not tighten the hardware. Adjust the cable tension by rotating the cam bolt until the top plate assembly starts lifting slightly from the weight stack. Tighten the nut of the cam bolt to lock its position. Then, position the pulley to be perpendicular to the guide rods and tighten the jam nut at the base of the pulley. When the pulley is positioned correctly, the cables will be straight and will not cross each other. It's not unusual for cables to stretch with use over time. When it occurs, repeat this step to adjust the cable tension. Repeat this on the other side. At this time, take a moment to check the cables. Start at one end of the cable and follow the cable as it passes through the pulley system. At each pulley, check that the cable is securely resting in the middle of the pulley and that there is no interference or off-track cables. When you get to the bottom of the frame pulley, check that the tab on the pulley cover is at the very bottom of the pulley and that the bolt is tight. If the tab is in the wrong position or the bolt is loose, position it correctly and tighten at this time. Now, check the weight stacks by placing the weight pin into each weight plate hole. The pin should easily slide in and out of each weight plate. For step 6, you'll need the following frame and hardware parts. We will now bolt the Smith bar hooks into the main frames. Place the right Smith bar hook, the one with the locking pin, at the top right of the main frame. Using two M8 by 20 mm button head cap screws, secure the hook to the inside of the frame. With one more M8 by 20 mm button head cap screw, secure to the front of the frame. Repeat this on the other side with the left Smith bar hook, the hook without the locking pin. It is critical that you properly store your Smith bar using the locking pin whenever the Smith bar is not in use. Lift the Smith bar to the highest point, then rotate the bar until the hooks on both sides of the bar are secure. Then pull the red locking pin, rotate it, and release it so the pin locks into place. For step 7, you'll need the following frame and hardware parts. Now, let's install the outer and inner right plastic covers to the top of the frames. Carefully align the outer right plastic cover, the one with the logo, to the outer side of the frame. Attach the cover straight on, not at an angle, so that the cover tabs align with the slots in the top of the frame. Apply even pressure to the outer edges of the plastic cover until the cover snaps into place. You may need to use the heel of your hand to gently tap on the outer edges. Repeat this step on the inside and outside of each side of the main frame. For step 8, you'll need the following frame and hardware parts. Now we will install the weight stack shrouds. There are 3 different shroud widths, and each shroud is mounted to the machine with a shroud plate that threads through a pocket on the shroud. Let's start on the outside of the machine. Find the top shroud plate marked with 2 stickers. One sticker will read top, the other will read rear. The rear sticker should be positioned towards the rear of the machine, while the top sticker is positioned towards the top of the machine. Then, thread it through the widest shroud. Secure the top shroud plate to the top frame of the machine with 2 M8 by 20 mm button head screws and washers. Just hand tighten for now. Then, secure one end of the bottom shroud plate to the frame without tightening the screw. Be sure the notches are facing upward. Then thread the bottom shroud plate through the bottom of the shroud. Next, secure the other end of the bottom shroud plate to the frame. Tighten all screws. Repeat this step on the left outer side of the main frame. Before we install the inner shrouds, let's apply the weight plate stickers. The number 1 sticker will go on the top plate, but we recommend that you start with the number 2 sticker. Place the number 2 sticker on the first weight plate. Then, apply the number 1 to the top weight plate assembly, using the number 2 sticker to align it properly. Finish applying the stickers through number 16. Now we can install the inner shrouds. Thread the top shroud plate through both the medium and narrow shrouds, with the narrow shroud toward the back of the machine and the medium toward the front. Secure the top shroud plate to the frame with those same M8 by 20mm button head screws and washers. Repeat with the bottom shroud plate. Remember, be sure the notches are facing upward, and tighten bolts once complete. And then repeat this step on the other side of the main frame. For step 9, you'll need the following frame and hardware parts. Now we've arrived at the final step. Let's get your accessory rack, tablet holder, and bench mount assembled. At this point, your upper crossbar could be oriented in 2 possible positions. Look for the bolt holes in the frame. Locate the pair of bolt holes. This is where we will mount your accessory rack. With the accessory rack hooks facing downward, secure the accessory rack to the crossbar with 2 M10 by 75mm hex bolts. Tighten completely. On the opposite end of the crossbar is the single bolt hole. This is where we will attach your bench mount. Position the bench mount over the top of the crossbar, then use 1 M10 by 75mm hex bolt to secure it into place. At the center of the crossbar, you will attach your tablet mount and tablet holder. First, attach the tablet mount to the crossbar using 2 M10 by 75mm hex bolts. Now take a look at your tablet holder to identify the fixed edge and the spring-loaded edge. The fixed edge of the holder is the bottom side. Attach the tablet holder to the tablet mount with 1 M6 by 75mm Allen bolt with washers and lock nut. Tighten this Allen bolt until the tablet holder holds its desired position, but can still be tilted up and down by hand. For optimal storage, we recommend that the add-on weights, ankle strap, and belt utilize the hooks like this. Then place the triceps rope and dual hook curl bar into the slots on the top of the accessory mount as shown. To attach your D handles to the cable, just attach the spring clip to the end of the cable, then attach your D handles to the spring clip. The bench folds flat and is equipped with a handle on one end. Hang the bench to the bench mount by the handle. To safely store a tablet in the tablet holder, open the tablet holder by sliding up the spring-loaded edge. Secure your device within the tablet holder and release the spring-loaded edge so it hugs your device. Bravo! Your SF3 is fully assembled. Now, let's check your work with a quick walkthrough of the machine. Grab your red Smith bar and slide it up and down the machine. This should feel smooth. Now, move the red bar all the way to the top, rotate the bar to hook into the storage position, and securely store it with the red locking pin. Let's check the sliding carriages next. Lift the red handle to move the sliding carriage up and down the machine. This should feel smooth and without friction. Check a handful of locking locations by releasing the handle. Repeat this on both sides of the machine. Adjust both sliding carriages to a position roughly waist high. Grab and pull on each D-handle that's attached to the cable. This motion should feel smooth and uninhibited. As you begin to pull on the handle, the weight stack should move immediately. This indicates proper cable tension. Now, carefully unlock the locking pin on the Smith bar and bring it down until it sits on the carriages. The Smith bar is designed to engage the sliding carriages and adjust as one mechanism. This allows the sliding carriages to act as a safety stop for the Smith bar. Let's test this. Stand inside the machine, facing outward. Rotate the Smith bar forward until the pins on the Smith bar tabs catch the hooks on the carriages. Ensure that the pins on each side of the bar contact the hooks simultaneously. Once those pins and hooks are engaged, the sliding carriages are now moving with the Smith bar. Hold that rotation on the bar, then move the Smith bar up and down to feel for smoothness. Once you've done this, rotate the bar backwards to release the carriages. Carriages should lock into corresponding positions on both sides. Repeat this check on several different positions. Once complete, slide the Smith bar up, rotate it, and lock it back into the secured storage position. As a reminder, the Smith bar should always be in the stored and locked position when not in use. As one last check, simply hang from the pull-up bar. If the machine is level and all bolts are tightened properly, it should feel solid and stable. If the SF3 passes this final check, then you're cleared for your first workout. Congratulations! If anything doesn't look or feel right, please visit inspirefitness.com/support or reach out to us via email, phone, or web chat.